General of Police Kayode Egbetokun has condemned the violent mob action in Edo State that led to the killing of travelers accused of being kidnappers. The attack carried out by a local vigilante group along the Uromi road resulted in multiple casualties. The victims, who claimed to be hunters, were found with 19 locally fabricated firearms, but the vigilantes, doubting their explanations, subjected them to mob justice. A statement by Force Public Relations Officer ACP Olumuyiwa Adejobi confirmed that 14 suspects have been arrested while a manhunt has been launched for the perpetrators. The police have restored order in the affected community. To ensure a thorough probe, Egbetokun directed the First Criminal Investigation Department, FCID, to take over the case. He reaffirmed the police commitment to upholding the rule of law and warned against extrajudicial actions. The IGP also warned citizens to remain calm and cooperate with investigators while discouraging acts of jungle justice. He reminded the public that unlawful possession of firearms remains a criminal offense and urged individuals with unlicensed weapons to surrender them. Authorities have reiterated that any suspicious activity should be reported to law enforcement rather than resorting to mob violence. This has been in the news for most of the weekend, and first, let's gather your thoughts on this report.
It's unfortunate that for the opting time, as a people, we have to lose some life that probably need not have lost. These are persons. Now, I can't vouch for them, whether they are innocent citizens or otherwise.
Right.
But if there's anything we should do, is condemn mob action. But you see, in condemning mob action, we also have to take a look at the root causes of mob action. Some time ago, we discussed here one of the reasons that gives rise to mob action is first, ignorance. Then, most importantly, beyond ignorance, lack of trust in the system. If the people trust the system, upon arresting these persons, they probably would have handed them over to the police. Then another thing is that at what time of the day were these people arrested? Was it at night? I ask this to say this. You see, we cannot continue to pretend that all is well with our country. We cannot continue to pretend that the institutions we have are adequate for our system now. There is a need, for example, state police, community policing has been called for severally. The system continues to play politics and lip service with it. Maybe if it fancies a politician during a campaign, he tells, oh, I'll support, through federalism, community policing, and all. The moment they get to power, they throw it off the window. But we cannot continue to pretend we don't need this thing. Why that has become germane in this matter now? The persons that arrested these people are said to be vigilantes. Vigilantes employed by who? These are non-state actors. But if we had a system, maybe, of course, it's obvious that the federal police presently cannot be everywhere, even though they do a whole lot, but they certainly can't be everywhere. The security and insecurity situation in the country is overwhelming. But if we have maybe this state police and community police, constitutionally enshrined, recognized as state actors, then that part of the society where this thing happened would have probably been manned by recognized security personnel, maybe state personnel. Then, if things like this happen, it will be easy to know who to hold.
All right.
As against what we have now, you probably don't know who to hold. You're looking for who to hold. It will be easy if you heard that, oh, this act was committed by maybe Uromi community police people. They have a registered address. They have, they have authorities. You can go after them, and then they have some explanations to do. Then, on the part of the victims that have been killed, it's unfortunate they died. And let us also not forget that part of the country, still talking about trust in the system, that part of the country has, over the years and in recent time, been bedeviled by attacks. Headsmen attack and kidnapping has been taking place on that in that axis. So, with that situation, it naturally triggered a suspicion when you see people carrying arms. But again, the fault in the system is that having seen those people, they would have been reported to appropriate authority. Mob action is not the way to go. When you take laws into your hands, you may likely be wrong. Your chances of being wrong is very high. Because these people, at the end of the investigation, if it is proved that they are hunters, what happens? The lives has been lost. Then the question again that comes to mind, you see, a dispassionate investigation had to be done. If they are hunters, as claimed, do they have to travel with their arms?
Now, I was going to come to that, but I want to begin by, first things first. What are your thoughts as regards self-preservation? You have, analyzed the case as regards all of the rate of, headsmen and killings on the farmers, people in Uromi, kidnapping from Uromi to Ogwashuku and all of those areas. There's been lots of reports as regards killing. Now, I don't know if you remember that in 2019, some farmers were killed and police officers were sent to that area to secure it. And it turns out that 19 police officers were killed around the same part of, Delta State. Now, do you think that this act by these villages is more of an act of self-preservation because haven't complained for so long? Now, you'd agree with me that injustice, when not handled, would lead to chaos and anarchy. Do you think that these people took this action in reference to self-preserving themselves, fighting on their behalf, since the government hasn't fought?
Self-preservation and lack of trust in the system.
Right.
Lack of trust in the system. If they had trusted the system, upon arresting these people, they probably would have handed them over to the appropriate authorities. Right. But maybe guided by the fear that they will be let off. Remember, not long ago, we heard that the kidnappers arrested in Anambra escaped police custody, even though the commissioner in Anambra State promised that they will be rearrested. I don't know if that has been done. That is, if the rearrest has been done. But you see, when you build a system that people are increasingly losing trust in the system, it becomes difficult for people to act rational. We can condemn these things, and indeed we condemn it, but we must also look at the root causes of it. We should have a system where the people can trust that, when there is a citizen arrest is very much in order. But when that is done, the people so arrested should be handed over to the authorities. Let the authorities carry out the proper investigation. But if these guys has been handed over to the authorities and the authorities do what they should do appropriately, they would have determined why these guys have to carry arm and travel that long distance. They said from Port Harcourt to the north. Did they necessarily have to carry their arm? Are they not coming back to this? And why would all of them carry arm? Those arms, were they licensed? Then you may also want to ask, is there a hunting colony in Port Harcourt that these guys claim to be coming from? So these are the things that would have been established. But unfortunately, we may not have that opportunity of establishing that. So I think what we have here is a case of lack of trust in the system, a case of self-help, maybe self-help taken too far now, a case of a long cry for justice. In the past, like you said, people have been kidnapped along that route, and there seems to be no answer to it. If the government had even acted swiftly, given all the years of kidnapping and positioned security men along that route, maybe these guys would have been intercepted by the government's own security agencies and not by some community self-help individuals.
All right, thank you so much for your analysis on that. I also want to gather your thoughts. Now, when I saw this report, I had to gather the thoughts of many Nigerians over social media, and many people have balanced this situation more on a tribal level, as regards they killed them because they were, Hausas, because they were Muslims and all of that. Now, do you think that by this we are running a double standard system? Much as we want to condemn this action, right? Because nobody deserves to take the law into their hands. But I want to gather your thoughts as regards. Do you think we operate, a double standard system? And I'll point you to certain references where I'm asking you this. For one, I don't know if you remember the story of Deborah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Sokoto State.
Deborah they said she said something against the prophet, and in a WhatsApp group. Remember that Deborah was unarmed. Yeah. Now she said something in a WhatsApp group, and she was burnt.
In a citadel.
She was stoned to death, and she was burnt. And there were people obviously showing their faces in front of the camera, showing the matches on those videos, that aired at that point in 2022. And even though people were arrested for that case, do you know that 38 lawyers were employed to try to bring them out, and nobody was sentenced for that particular situation? Do you think that the justice system or the outcry for justice is double standard in Nigeria? In Abuja, I think it was in 2016 or so, just when 2016 or 2017.
In case of Bridget Agba, I don't know.
That was a preacher that was doing a morning cry.
Bridget,
she was killed and left 7 children. Nobody has been arrested or taken to court or convicted for those cases. Right now, we have 14 people arrested for this, and everybody is condemning. What are your thoughts as regards to double standards we run?
You see, that's why I keep saying that the major problem we have in Nigeria is a problem of justice and its converse, injustice. In a situation where you have double standards for justice, there would always be suspicion. I would always say justice should not just be done, but must have been seen to have been done. If I publicly slap a person, or even slap you here now, and for pride's sake, I don't want to be disgraced, the system takes me inside and warn me or even slap me. I was taken inside to be slapped. Everybody was waiting outside to see
the slap.
Nobody saw it. I come out laughing. How would you convince the public that I was that there was a punishment meted to me outside? So people would, even if you had done something, people will go out with the impression that nothing was done to him. So next time when something happen, people would want to retaliate immediately because they have that feeling that nothing would be done. You see, these cases which you have mentioned, and it's unfortunate some of the persons who are condemning this act now were all around when these other incidents happened. They said nothing about it. They kept quiet. Now, it seems to have turned to the other side, and they are all loud talking, and some of the persons who are who seems to be quiet about this issue now, if you flip it and the incident happened against a particular session, you will hear them talk. So until we have a uniform standard of justice, that our interest should not be where is he from, where is she from, what is his religion, but justice, until we all agree that it is wrong to kill or harm anybody in spite of what actions that person have taken, in spite of where that person comes from, in spite of what that person believes. We will keep having this issue. When it suits us, we condemn. When it's against us, we keep quiet. I mean, because people pointing out these things, you can't fault them. We have seen it over and over. It's in certain parts, it happens. Nobody says anything. And even some of the persons that are vocal to condemn some actions when it happens to some persons from some sections of the country, when you flip it and it happens to people from the other side of the country, they go mute. So in that case, you cannot convince me that your interest is justice. No, your interest is as primordial as the people who committed that act. So all of you are on the same scale. The difference now is that you are acting for different interests, but definitely your interest cannot be said to be justice. And it's unfortunate until we have leaders who justice means the same thing for everybody, no matter the color, no matter the tribe, no matter the religion. Once you go against that set principle. The concern should be let justice be done, not where is it from, or even gender. At times, just like something has been happening recently. People who ordinarily would say, oh, respect elders, you see them talking about a woman should not say this to a man. So we are not about justice as a people, and it's very sad. And as far as we continue to live that way, we will continue to run into troubled waters, which we have all around us anyway.
Thank you so much, Ikechukwu. Now, also, I want you to look at this case in another, in another film. Many farmers in Uromi have stopped going to their farms because many people have said that their mothers were raped and killed, their daughters, their husbands are killed. So many people no longer farm, right? Now, hunting usually happens in the forest. Is there a forest that is thick enough from Port Harcourt and heading towards Uromi and heading towards Kano that farmers should be in without guns? Because of course we have a grazing law, right? What are your thoughts as regards this law and how it moves the grazing law? If there's whole hunting, there should be some form of forest moving from the north all the way till you get to Port Harcourt. Why are hunters allowed? Now, the president said they are traveling hunters. Edo State governor, he said that they are travelers. He didn't, in his own speech, he didn't describe them as travelers, traveling hunters. The president said they were traveling hunters, right? What are your thoughts as regards the insecurity that has baited these people into this form, especially because they can no longer farm and food is expensive? And normally these farmers would go to their farms and at least feed their families, and at least the agriculture is moving and there's food supply in the country. But now that hasn't been handled over the years, even though these people have constantly complained. Now, why do you think the security forces that were sent now to arrest the people and, maybe instill peace?
Why has nothing been done?
Why has nothing been done all the while that this complaint has been going on?
Still the reason why I have to fault our system in all this. Still the reason why I have to fault our concept of justice, not just the justice system now, which has to do with the judiciary. Because before you even get to the judiciary, we need to have a justice system that is ready to prosecute everybody who is and to protect those who are on the side of the law. Now, the thing is that, you see, these problems are multifaceted. If we had an active data in this country, we have had a national ID card scheme that is neither here nor there. If we had a working data in this term, probably these people would have been somehow captured in our data system. So we would have easily checked through our database to know who they really are. If they are, at least the data would capture. If the data is capturing Ikechukwu, it captures Ikechukwu, what Ikechukwu does, where Ikechukwu lives, and all those stuff. These things would have been captured. So you probably would have gone through the data system to establish truly if these people are hunters or not. That would have settled this thing. And if probably, I'm just thinking, maybe if our national ID card system or policy has been pushed to a holistic end, probably by now every citizen should have had an ID card. Then it would have been easy to even identify these persons with their ID card. But unfortunately, we don't have this data. So for most times, the only means of identification is who you say you are. And you see it every time. If you are accosted by the police, it's just about who are you. Whatever you bring out as your ID card becomes what identify you. But there seems not to be a database where we can easily punch the buttons to see. If you meet me on the road and say, who are you? I say, oh, I'm Ikechukwu, I am XYZ. You punch into the data to see if that corresponds with what I'm saying. If it does, then you know that I'm good to go. Otherwise, there's a challenge somewhere. But we don't have such. And if we had, it would have been able to solve this problem. So that's why I say this matter is a multifaceted one. Then back to your question, I've also wondered, like I asked earlier, do we have a hunting colony in Rivers State? Do hunters go that far? I don't know. I'm just wondering, as much as everybody wondering out loud, do hunters go that far? Is there anything on them apart from the arm that truly suggests that they are hunters? Maybe, you know, as people going back to meet their family, do they have some, you know, I mean, like, you know,
games?
Yes, some games they are taking home. Having been away for some time, you're going back home. You probably want to take some games, you know, back to your family as the fruit of your labor, you know. Was anything like that seen with them? There are just so many questions to ask and answer. And why were they, I don't understand, why were they traveling in a truck? Is that the only means of transport they could get for people who have been doing genuine business, earning some money? There is a whole lot of things we need to address in our system. Now, this is not to say the system would necessarily determine how people would travel, but if you have data, you can easily identify who each person is. If we have the right security persons at every point, it will now be left for state agents, not non-state actors, to do this security work, stop and check, and identify who is who, and know who to let go and know who not to let go. Then most importantly, a trust in the system would make it easy, even when there is a citizen arrest, to take those people to the appropriate authorities, believing that justice will be served, believing that, because I mean, there is no way you can justify it that it is for individuals to take laws into their in that swift seconds or hours or whatever. These guys were tried, condemned to death, and actually executed. It really doesn't make sense, but that is the system we have found ourselves. So that's why I insist that in condemning this act, in carrying out this investigation, we should not throw away the critical questions that has been raised in this issue. We should not forget that there is a need to address our society. I mean, to look at our society. Some things are definitely wrong in the system we live in, and until we look at the root causes of these things, we may not be heading anywhere. We may have these things repeated, maybe not at Uromi again, in different parts of the country. And I mean, we see killings happening every day. It's too much for a country. These things can be handled.
Thank you.